Hello everyone, welcome to iExamB. So for SEBI Grade A 2023, we'll be discussing a very important concept, that is social stock exchange, and the new framework that is given by SEBI in that regard. So stock exchange, when the word stock exchange comes to our mind, then certain kind of images display in our mind, right? National Stock Exchange and very old, the Bombay Stock Exchange. These are the places that provide a platform to the category of people, the people who are in the need of money to make an investments in their businesses, or the people who have surplus funds and they want to make an investments in order to earn extra income, and they are ready to lend the same. So these two parties are brought together at one place to meet each other's needs. And in order to deal in such kind of transactions, they deal in financial instruments like shares, bonds, derivatives, etc. And these securities are traded on these respective stock exchanges, and then liquidity is created, and also overall wealth is created for the economy. So they are very important driver of an economy for every country. So these are the normal stock exchanges. But what is social stock exchange? So social stock exchange also is a new concept that was actually discussed by Shrimati Nirmala Sitharaman, our finance minister, in her budget speech in February 2019. So she said it is time to take our capital markets closer to the masses and meet various social welfare objectives related to inclusive growth and financial inclusion. So what exactly social stock exchange would be doing? So social stock exchange also is kind of a platform that actually allows the listing of non-profit organizations. So the stock exchange, these kinds of stock exchanges allow these organizations to raise funding for their social causes and the purposes apart for receiving their normal donations, right? So social stock exchanges actually facilitate these types of organizations to raise capital, and then with an objective to bring a positive change in the society. So such an alternative funding structure can help these kinds of organizations get funds by direct listing on the stock exchange. There will be a separate platform in the normal stock exchanges like national stock exchanges and Bombay like these are stock exchanges only, right? But this concept is new to India, but several countries like UK, Italy, Brazil, Canada, etc., they have these kinds of social stock exchanges in place to help organizations like non-profit organizations. So social stock exchange, what is the roadmap of these social stock exchanges, how it has evolved since that budget speech? So budget speech, in that it was actually discussed by the finance minister. So in that again then SEBI formed a working group on the social stock exchange on this date, and the report for the same was submitted, and this working group was headed by Ishat Hussain. And then there was another technical group which was constituted in the year 2020, and the report for the same was submitted in the May 2021. So this framework was actually approved by SEBI in September 21, right? And then after that, this clearance of this framework was given recently in the combination. Certain amendments were actually approved. So certain recommendations that were made by these committees. So those recommendations were approved by SEBI, and the due changes or amendments in the certain regulations were made in this regard, right? And that was done on 25th July 2022. So what is this new framework of social stock exchange by SEBI, and what does it state? So which kind of organizations like non-profit organization, we have told that they will be allowed to be listed on these social stock exchanges. So social stock exchange is a kind of electronic fundraising platform that allows alternative fundraising structure to these social enterprises. That is, social enterprises means eligible to participate in the social stock exchange, the entities like non-profit organizations and for-profit social enterprises, right? So who can be the not for profit organization? That means a social enterprise, which may be any of the organizations, like a charitable trust registered under the Indian Trust Act, a charitable trust registered under the Public Trust Statute of the relevant state, a charitable society registered under the Societies Registration Act, and a company incorporated under Section 8 of Companies Act, or any other entity as specified by the board. So this is given a definition of not for profit organization. So similarly, for profit social enterprises also mean an enterprise that is either for a profit company or a body corporate, and does not include a company under Section 8 of Companies Act. This is just a definition, but apart from that, these two types of organizations will have to engage in a social activity out of 16 broad activities listed by the regulators, and some of them are like eradicating hunger, poverty, malnutrition, inequality, promoting healthcare, etc. All these kinds of some specific activities are outlined, so they need to be performing in the same, and there should be a proper track record of that. So why they have been given a platform to get themselves listed and then raise a capital for the same, raise funds for the same, these activities? Because once they are listed, then they will be subject to certain regulations, they will be subject to certain audits, like social audit will be performed by social auditor in that regard, and some monthly reports also need to be submitted in that regard. So for that, these kinds of regulations will give a credibility to these these stock exchanges, and also will give an assurance to the investors that they are doing the genuine work, and whoever are those benevolent and philanthropic investors who want to make investments in these social causes, they will be actually very much interested to do the same through these mediums, right? So okay, so there are also certain kind of facilities have been provided to these organizations to raise the fund. How they will be raising the funds, because certain instruments will also be given, right? So SEBI has come up with some broad framework to operate under these current stock exchanges, and how the instruments in which they will be dealing, that will be structures. So eligible NPOs, which I have already given the definition, who will be eligible under to be categorized as non-profit organizations, can raise funds through zero coupon, zero principal bonds and mutual funds. And for-profit social enterprises can mobilize capital through the issuance of equity shares on the main board or SME platform, or equity shares issued to an alternate investment funds. Alternate investment funds are privately pooled funds. They actually mainly, hedge funds and all, they make investments in some risky propositions, mainly venture capital angel funds are included in this. So, and including social impact funds. So, they are eligible. So, for NPOs to make an investment in zero coupon, zero principal bond, the approval has already been given. Right, so zero coupon, this amendment has been given. So mode available for the fundraising for NPOs other than equity shall be zero coupon, zero principal bond. Zero coupon, zero principal bond. It is like, we have heard about zero coupon bond, that they are issued at discount and then on the maturity principal value is repaid, but there is no coupon payment in this regard, and difference between the issue price and the redemption price is the interest earned by the investor. That was zero coupon bond. So it resembles a debt security like a bond. So when an entity takes a loan by issuing regular debt security like a bond, it has to make interest payments and the principal when the bond matures. I am talking about the normal bond. But with this new financial instrument, entity issues these securities and raises money. So it is actually it is not a loan but a donation. So the borrowing entity does not have to pay interest. Therefore, what is that? Zero coupon. That is, need not pay interest. That is zero coupon, and does not have to pay the principal either. That means zero principal. So like any other debt instrument, it will come up with a time duration. And these bonds will carry a tenor equal to the duration of the given project these enterprises are undertaking for the social cause, right? But then how these kinds of instruments, like how they will be mainly structured? So these bonds have a zero coupon and no principal, as I told you, at maturity. So these will be issued by a non-profit organization for certain social developmental projects, and such organizations need to show expertise in those areas that they are actually claiming that they will be performing the social causes for, right? So that will allow investors to allow the greater insights into these NPO activities, non-profit organizations activities, right? So zero coupon, zero principal bonds will differ from conventional bond, right? But these do not provide any returns, but they provide a promise, a social return to the funder. Such a promise carries some probability of being defaulted upon, as the NPO may not deliver the social impact that it actually promised to create, that it will be creating some social impact. So if it does not create, and if the funder is not satisfied, that means it has defaulted upon it, right? So funder's sense of fulfillment or disappointment has to do with the creation of social impact instead of any financial return. And that is, if funder is disappointed, then this organization is liable to lose the funder's trust and therefore its donations for the future, right? So this actually zero coupon, zero principal bond have also been included in the Securities Contract Regulation Act as a type of securities, right? So other than that, there are some changes made in the regard of SEBI, this social impact fund. Actually, social venture funds have been defined under alternate fund. As I told you, these are privately pooled investments that are mainly undertaken. These investments are taken by bigger investors, like accredited investors, who make investments in some risky areas and also highly profitable, highly risky ventures, right? So these are larger investments, not for retail investors. So in that, social venture fund actually is defined under this AIF regulation as an alternate investment funds which mainly invest in securities or units of social ventures and which satisfy social performance norms laid down by the fund, and whose investors may agree to the receive restricted returns. So in this regard, as the name was not actually aligning, this nomenclature was not aligning with the basically the impact these organizations are aimed to create. So that's why there is a change in the regulation of this AIF regulations regarding the name change. So social venture fund has been changed the name to social impact funds, right? And also social venture funds have been re-christened as social impact funds in a bid to make such funds attractive means for investments in non-profit organization. And the corpus requirement for such funds also have been reduced from 20 crores to 5 crores, and the minimum value of investment by an individual investors in such funds will be rupees 2 lakhs. So these kinds of changes have been brought in by coming up with this kind of framework, right? So in this kind of framework also certain other changes are there, like as I told you, this NPOs are there, non-profit organizations which are desirous of actually raising funds on the social stock exchange. They are required to be registered with the stock exchange. And in terms of disclosures made, a social enterprises which is raising funds and it is registered on this respective social stock exchange will be required to submit the annual impact report also to such a social stock exchange, such a entity, right? So the annual impact report will be audited by the social audit firm. That definition also is given by SEBI in these regulations, and specific social auditor will be appointed for the same. So until now all these regulations have been approved, and also amendments in various regulations have been made in this regard. So the amendments are proposed in this regulation for SEBI alternate investment fund regulations, as I told you, because the name of social venture capital has been changed to social impact fund, and the corpus fund also has been changed. And about LODR also, this is listing obligations and disclosure requirements, regarding all the disclosure and the listing requirements that are need to be actually adopted by these kinds of organization. And then ICDR, that is issue of capital and disclosure requirements, how will they will be raising the funds from equity and all those financial instruments like zero coupon, zero principal bonds, and social impact funds or alternate investment funds. So all these amendments are proposed in these regulations till date. So as of now, only these changes have been brought in. So once any other changes are for circulars for the same are given, we'll keep on discussing in our subsequent videos. So the question for a day is, so the technical group, which was constituted later by after this working group by SEBI on September 21, 20 on social stock exchange concept, was headed by whom? So your options are S.K. Mohanty, Dr. Harsh Kumar Bhanwala, Ved Arya, Matthew Cherian, or Shri Ajay Tyagi. So you please comment the correct answer in the comment section, and just change, and also read about the social stock exchange concept. So that's it. Thank you so much. So as it's a big B-Day sale, so for SEBI Grade A course, we have already started our 100 days plan, wherein the live sessions are being conducted and various topics are being extensively discussed in those live sessions for all the respective subjects. So flat 57% off is there for today. For that you need to use the same code, and also you, for other further details, you can call the number provided. And not only for SEBI Grade A, but for various other online courses, the sale is applicable, and the same code, and you can also inquire on the given number, right? And also iExamB is also conducting a e-seminar along with Prayatan IAS. So how to start preparing for civil services, IAS or PCS, that will be on September 17-22 at 6 p.m. and the respective faculties and experienced dignitaries will be there to guide you. So register for the same. So thank you students, thank you for the same. You please unfold your potential with iExamB, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. Thank you.